This is from Trump the other day. He went to California and of course the entire town of Paradise up in flames, like an entire town. And Trump called it pleasure, not paradise. He had to be corrected. Oh, before we move on to that, AJ has a couple of comments in the Facebook live chat. AJ Davis. He said, Obama did at the State of the Union. Reports from the Daily Wire, multiple members of the caravan. Oh, okay, that's two different things. Okay. Reports from the Daily Wire, multiple members of the caravan arrested for drugs, drunk, and intoxication. What they do and say is abolish the Supreme Court or add more seats. Yeah, I do hear, you're right. I do hear people on the left say that. Actually, well, I hear them talk about abolishing it. I hear that once in a while, but the adding more seats concept, which is, let's be honest, it's never going to happen. But the idea of adding more seats to the Supreme Court, that I've actually heard much more of the two ideas. Wendy Pack joins us in the Facebook live chat and says, hey all. Hello, Wendy. Okay. So, Trump, again, he couldn't get the name of the town right. And that's, anybody could make that mistake, I guess. Although with Trump, I wonder, is it because he, underneath it all, he really doesn't care? But then there's some other comments that he made where he's asked about global warming or climate change. And does this have an effect? Is it because, one of the theories is as the climate continues to change, as California gets less and less rain, you're going to have more and more of this problem. It's hotter, it's drier. Unlike Finland, because Trump had also, in another clip, which I'm not going to play, there's several clips from Trump's trek to California to visit paradise, or pleasure, as he put it. Maybe it was a Freudian slip. Maybe he had something else on his mind. I don't know. Hey, if at age 72 everything's still working, good for him, I guess. That's what he is, right? 72, 71? Poor Melania. Oh, God, that woman. My heart goes out to her. So anyway, there was this other clip. Well, you know what? Let's focus on this one for now. Here, because there's something he says in this that I don't understand. Maybe if there's anyone out there who can decipher Trump, you can tell me what he means when he said this.
Does the devastation of change your opinion at all on climate change, Mr. President?
No. I have a strong opinion. I want great climate. We're going to have that, and we're going to have forests that are very safe.
What does that mean? We're going to have great climate. I want to have great climate, and we're going to have that. Let me back that up again. So I don't know what that means.
Does the devastation of change your opinion at all on climate change, Mr. President?
No. I have a strong opinion. I want great climate. We're going to have that, and we're going to have forests that are very safe.
We're going to have great climate. Now, I bring this up for a very specific reason, my friends. I think there might be something to that. I don't think that's just Trump saying silly things that don't make sense. Now, granted, there's a 99% chance that that's exactly what it is because he says a lot of silly things that don't make sense. For example, this thing.
Very, very large a brain. He said, Donald Trump, they don't know what to do. Never happened. Very, very large a brain. He said.
The part where he said, he talks about the size of his brain, and then they said, he said, Donald Trump, they don't know what to do, never happened. Obviously, that's something that doesn't make any sense, grammatically or otherwise. Donald Trump, they don't know what to do, never happened. I literally don't know what that means. I just know that he said that right after talking about the size of his very large brain. So it's interesting. He talks about the size of his brain, and then he blurts out nonsensical nonsense, which literally doesn't mean anything as far as I can tell. So anyway, but that might all be a smokescreen for something more nefarious, my friends. There might be something to this. It might not just be nonsense. I want to have great climate. He might actually mean something. Now, here's what I think it could mean. And Some of you might think I'm suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, and some of you might think that I've given way to the conspiracy theorists out there in the world. And let's be honest, now that Alex Jones has been deplatformed, there is an opportunity there to occupy that space. Is it possible that Trump knows something that the rest of us don't? Oh, hello to Steve Pascucci in the Facebook live chat. Is it possible that Trump knows about, I believe it's called HARP, and I don't know what HARP stands for, but it's some sort of machine that controls the weather. Is that what Trump is suggesting? Because that's what Alex Jones and the conspiracy theorists claim, that there's a machine that can control the weather. So when Trump says, I want to have great climate, is it because he knows a way that we can have great climate? And that's exactly what we're going to have. I don't know. I mean, again, it sounds like gibberish because it sounds like it doesn't make sense. But what if there is something there? What if he is preparing us for a weather machine? Dun, dun, dun. I need to have some kind of sound effect for that. And what if it's not called, he likes to change the names of things, right? Again, it's called HARP, right? It's, I don't know what HARP stands for. It's an acronym for something, obviously, having to do with controlling the weather. But what if he's going to call, you know what? He'll probably change the name. He likes to change the name like he did with NAFTA. It's like you take NAFTA and then you, change something in there about dairy and then you call it something completely different, because he's got to put his stamp on it. What if he calls it the Trump machine? Dun, dun, dun. And the Trump machine controls the weather. That'd be amazing. What if that's what's really going on here, my friends? Oh, we need to consider all possibilities because the other thing he said makes no sense at all. Steve Pascucci says, great climate. The government has been working on controlling the weather according to the conspiracy people. Steve Pascucci, is that it? Pascucci? I hope I'm saying your name correctly. You, sir. Great minds think alike. You and me and our president, Donald John Trump, I think we're all thinking the same thing here. I think we're all thinking about controlling the weather with machines. And if we're all thinking it, there must be something to it, right? How could all three of us be thinking that and it not be like a real thing, right? I mean, look, when I was a kid, when I first started watching General Hospital, yes, I watched General Hospital when I was a kid. I was a weird kid. I blame my mother. She got me hooked on it one summer. But there was a storyline where the Cassadines, I forget what the lead Cassadine, Constantine or something, the most evil Cassadine, they were like the evil family on the show at the time. He had a weather machine, and he was controlling the weather in Port Charles, New York. It was snowing in the middle of July. And then Luke Spencer of Luke and Laura fame had to figure out the password and disable the machine. And Stavros, that was it, Stavros Cassadine. Luke Spencer, of course, defeated Stavros Cassadine, beat him up or something, and then typed in the password. I remember the password was Ice Princess. And he typed it into the machine, and the machine stopped, and Port Charles returned to normal weather. But I'm telling you, I think that was based on a true idea. I don't think, oh my God, it is extremely windy outside all of a sudden. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be distracted, but wait a minute. Yeah, it wasn't windy at all when I got here. Now it's like extremely windy outside. Okay, this is too weird. Steve Pascucci, tell me if you're with me on this. Okay, this is very, very weird. Like, I'm not even kidding right now. I'm sitting here talking about Trump's comments about great climate and a weather machine, and all of a sudden it gets extremely windy outside. Like it looks like a typhoon or something is happening. And actually, like by the way, I'm actually not kidding about that part. Like it really did suddenly get extremely windy out. Like I could hear the wind and then it's like, oh my God. No, it's like, it's windy when you look at an intersection, because I can see an intersection out here with traffic lights, and you see the traffic lights like are actually moving in the wind. Well, I'm not looking forward to leaving later all of a sudden. It's like ridiculous outside right now. Anyway, that happened while I'm sitting here talking about this weather machine. I think we're all on to something. So, anyway, or I'm insane. Or Trump's insane. I don't think he's insane. I think he's just confused. Oh, Steve Pascucci says, Trump, he sees you when you're sleeping. Okay. We were on the same page for a minute there, Steve. But now you're creeping me out. I don't want to think about, don't get me wrong. I suppose in many ways it would be an honor to be watched over by our great president, Donald John Trump, the greatest president in the history of the galaxy. I think Orrin Hatch said that once. But I got to tell you, I'm a little creeped out. I don't really want him watching me. Steve says, you missed the snow. There was snow? I'm freaked out. All this talk about the weather's freaking me out. Oh, I remember now what the other thing was. I don't have the clip ready, but Trump made the comment about, you can see it, but if you're watching on Facebook Live, you can see it in the windows. Look at that. I'm pointing at you. Well, yeah, I'm pointing at this. You can't see what I'm pointing at. But anyway, so I'm pointing at the screen, but you're watching me on the camera. But anyway, you can see it in the windows. You can see the wind. You can see the snow being blown by the wind. So Trump was talking about, I was hanging out with the president of Finland, and he told me, they're a forest nation, and what they do is they rake the forests, and they take really good care of their forest. And the president of Finland said, yeah, I never actually said that to Trump. And it turns out the reason they don't have forest fires in Finland, even though they are a quote unquote forest nation, is because they get 7 times the amount of rain that we do in this part of the world. It's very, very wet there. So there's really not a lot of opportunities to start a forest fire. Like if they had Smokey Bear over there doing public service announcements and he was like, only you could prevent forest fires, the Finnish would be like, dude, it rains all the time. What are you talking about? And why is this weird talking bear on my screen? So that was the other odd thing with Trump and that whole thing. But, he did go to, of course, to Paradise, California, to show how much he cares. There's also video of him throwing paper towels to people who lost their homes. I made that last part up. That's a callback to the Puerto Rico. Remember he went to Puerto Rico and he threw paper towels at people? He's such a hero.